When storms and hurricanes approach Jamaica, 8 times out of 10, they first make landfall through the parish of St. Thomas. Yet, many people who live there did not know how to prepare for a natural disaster until now. In the Trinityville area, residents and the farmers who make a living there are better prepared for natural hazards, thanks to a multi-donor trust fund managed by the Caribbean Development Bank, the Community Disaster Risk Reduction Fund.
Trinityville as a community is affected very often by climate change. The communities are oftentimes affected by rainfall, flood, river flow, overflow, landslides, and the community becomes vulnerable.
At CBS, on behalf of our communities, in consultation with our partners, we submitted a project proposal to the Caribbean Development Bank, CDB, through their Community Disaster Risk Reduction Fund, CDRRF. The project focused on 3 main areas: improve land management and farming practices. The other area looked at retrofitting and renovation of a community center as a disaster shelter. The other component looks at public awareness, education and training in disaster risk management.
With work ongoing to make the Trinityville area less vulnerable to natural hazards, project stakeholders have also recognized the need to bridge the gaps in knowledge about disaster risk reduction.
The shelter management and the initial damage assessment training, as well as the basic disaster management training, was put forward. So the ODPM, we led the process in conjunction with the St. Thomas Municipal Corporation, among other agencies, RAD and the SDC.
For the initial damage assessment now, we took them to Caribbean Terrace as part of the activity, and based on what we taught them in the classroom setting, they were able to use that skill to assess the damage that they saw in the field. It was really interesting. They loved it.
In Trinityville, the project is training farmers in agricultural techniques that will make their farms and the environment less vulnerable to the impacts of climate change. It's a win-win intervention, protecting their livelihoods and building resilience.
We were part of the team that trained farmers as it relates to barriers. We did training as to how to place the pineapple against the contour of the hill so they would reduce the movement of the water.
With the farmers, with at least 12 farmers, got some pineapple sucker where you can turn around to sustainable development and okay. Because those farmers can get income from off those pineapple suckers and the acres.
For the sucker, plant it and look see it grow lovely and nice and something. So we appreciate it. Yeah, we appreciate it.
UTech Jamaica, a local university, has joined in this effort with the building of a physical and digital 3D model for disaster risks. This technology is helping residents better understand and identify disaster risks in their community.
The university has opened its doors to community members, some who have never been to a university before, and upcoming aspirants. We had students from the Robert Lightburn High School.
It was very wonderful because we enjoy ourselves. We make models and learn to make different shapes.
We didn't really know how to make them. So going there, they teach us a lot.
And how to be creative. So we learn a lot of things from them.
Actually, they were very willing to learn. So we had like a class with them, teaching them how to do basic things. So they were very interested in doing that, and they all came out and they were all sitting in the lab and very hands-on, trying to figure out, how to do it, very interested to find out how we were able to translate the physical information into a digital form.
They were so helpful in identifying the rest of the community surrounding the problems, and then they were able to zone in on those specific features that we were able to capture on the model to help to show everybody else what is really going on in this community. Things like the gullies that were blocked up, that were causing these rivers to overflow their banks and so forth. And we were able to go down in some of these gullies and see close up some of these problems.
They were willing to share this experience with us and for us to really get the root of the problem so that there can be a solution for the betterment of themselves and their community.
The model is presently housed at Robert Lightburn High School, accessible to the community. So students, persons needing information about the Trinityville area itself can go in, look at the model, get information.
Not only did the community come alive, but our students came alive because they began to realize that what we are learning in school actually has a practical basis.
The project has brought together academia, government agencies, and residents for a game-changing collaboration, and it's already making a difference.
It's not just inside of the community anymore, it's outside of the community now. So we are on the move for the better days still to come based on what and how we are going now.
So what we're trying to do is get persons to be disaster resilient. Instead of depending on the local authority or the national level, if something should happen, we equip them with the skill and the necessary knowledge and tools. So should in case something happen, they can, deal with it themselves instead of waiting on the authority to come.
What has been most heartening is the fact that disaster management is often seen as something not sexy. So it's really tailored mostly to the older persons. And I must say that this community, Trinityville, has broken that paradigm because the training was largely represented by young people. And so it really is a paradigm shift. The fact that young people now are engaged in disaster management in a meaningful way to assist their community.
Never before the matter of climate change ever been discussed so widely, integrating all the different sectors. There are challenges really, and so we also use these challenges as the lessons learned, which is part of the real big success, not just for us, but for the funders and the different stakeholders who are involved.